If you're a Steelers fan and you wave that terrible towel and you don't watch this podcast regularly, you're missing the boat.
Welcome to the Steelers Realm Podcast. And now, here are the boys of Steelers Realm.
Thank you, Andy Hart. Welcome, Steelers Nation, back to another episode of Steelers Realm Podcast. So excited to be with you. I'm one of your hosts, JT, joined with the one and only, the famous TA. What's going on, brother? How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing pretty good, JT. A little fired up. That was a pretty good intro today.
Yeah, man. Kind of fired up, too. Always good to hear from our man, Bill Hillgrove. And not to mention, as I mentioned, Bill, somebody who has applied for his job as well, keeping it on two rails all the time, my man, carrying the freight train himself. What's up?
Well, the problem is, I think he might have missed the boat.
I'm as big as the boat. I am the boat.
He is the boat.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, Chris. Welcome in.
We're getting close to this draft. Getting excited about the prospects that we've been interviewing, and excited to see where this takes us.
Yeah, definitely. You know what? There's not a spare moment. Although it's been quiet a little lately. Hey, DJ, what's going on, man? Howdy to you too, sir. Thank you for driving in. But anyhow, yeah, I mean, as slow weeks go, this was like one of the slowest, but nonetheless, still a lot to go over. We're 2 weeks out from the draft, and man, we got a lot of names to talk about and throw around there. But we got a good show lined up for you guys, including Steeler Gets His Own Day. Pre-draft visits continue. We're going to break down in our Position Kitchen special, preseason special, break down quarterbacks and special teams tonight. And then also we want to tell you about some other news and signings. And then a very special mention of the up and coming this Saturday, the charity basketball game. And while I'm plugging it here, I'm just going to throw it up. It's this Saturday in Indiana, Pennsylvania, home of IUP, and the location of the KCAC Center, where the Pittsburgh Steelers will be taking on another team. That tip off 8:00, but get there early, and then autographs at halftime, all kind of cool stuff. So the whole Steelers Realm team and family will be there, most of them anyhow. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody come out, wear the black and gold, bring your towels, do it all.
Well, and
Steelers stuff.
Well, and according to my sources, I have pretty good sources, by the way. Chris Elliott will actually be singing the national anthem before the game. So
there you go. He'll be doing his baritone version.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
Chris, can't wait to see him.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing that. I'm looking forward to seeing that. So, yeah, man, that's it. Hope you guys can make it. I know I appreciate you guys coming all the way across the border over into Pennsylvania territory to hang out with us. Should be a good night. Get to catch up with James and his boy Bane and Tony. Should be a good time, man. We'll have a presence there for sure. Yeah. So, TA, why don't you let's get into these pre-draft visits. This list of names is intriguing, of all the possible draftees that we've interviewed. So what do you think? You want to kick this segment off? Get into that song?
Yeah. The thing I've noticed this year, in years past, you always get your 30 and then you got your couple local. And right now we've got about 26 out of 30 visits. We've got still 4 more to go. out of that, we've already had 4 local players, that we get a freebie on. But what's most intriguing to me about this year's list is that there are a lot of potential first round draft picks here on this thing.
Mhm.
Uh, and which is surprising because usually, it's almost as if we don't want to tell anybody who we're looking at. This year, it's like we're telling everybody we're looking at everybody this year. So
Mhm.
guess who we're going to go after this year? But the one that gets me the most is Michael Penix. Why would you even look at Michael Penix when, he there's a possibility we've already talked, man. We could have 6, maybe even 7 quarterbacks go in the first round this year, making that a record. But really, Michael Penix is a second round draft guy. And I just can't see us reaching for a quarterback in a second round. So, and I didn't
Mhm.
like this guy's, I didn't like his demeanor during the big games. I thought he was a choke artist. So,
He
you
gives
know what?
me he gives me Tua Tagovailoa vibes. I don't even think I said that right. You know,
You
but
want to try that
how
again?
about I just say Tua? We'll just
Tua,
go short
yeah.
term here. He gives me Tua vibes. And he's very, very skinny. He's not built like you would see a prototypical AFC North quarterback. I know Lamar's not the biggest guy in the room either, but he's not the type of like Lamar where you can build your offense around his specific skill set because I don't think he has a specific skill set.
No, and I agree. So I do got to ask this. Just looking at this list, Freight Train. We've got the MegaCast coming up with our mock draft. Is there one name on here that just pops out to you that screams first round, or a name that pops out to you right now and says, you know what? I hope he's available in the second or the third.
Well, I mean, when you look at it, I know we don't want to go sexy, but Adonai Mitchell is supposed to be one of the higher rated wide receivers in this draft and is supposed to be completely off the board by the time we come around to ours. And, I've said on the show before that I said if one of those big name wide receivers becomes within reaching distance for this team, I wouldn't put it past them to trade up to grab the guy before somebody else does. And Adonai Mitchell is a very, very good wide receiver. I think one of the best receivers in this class that gets kind of hidden behind Marvin Harrison Jr. and Aduze from Washington. He's got some size at 6'2". He's got some speed. And the best thing that I think separates him is he's a very, very good route runner. So I would not put it past them that they keep a close watch on him because we know we need that wide receiver outside of George Pickens. If he isn't within striking distance, that we go up and grab him.
And JT, I know that this isn't your time of year. You don't really get excited too much about this. But I noticed this year, JT, I'm kind of impressed after 6 years of doing this. It seems like you've got a little bit, you've paid a little closer attention. So who are you thinking?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the guy that pops out to you on this list?
A little bit. I'm going to have to disagree. I mean, I think the chances are maybe 10% of them going wide receiver in the first round, regardless of who's out there. But I think we're going for center or tackle. Center or tackle. And who's excited me probably the most is JPJ out of Oregon. It just seems like he's a cut above all the rest when it comes to centers. So that's my glamour pick. And then Mim's another Georgia guy. We talked about him.
I don't like that one.
I know you
No,
don't.
thanks.
I know you
No,
don't.
thank you. Yeah, it doesn't have enough tape to satisfy my needs for a number one pick for my team.
Well, I like the JPJ. I've been saying it for weeks, man. I don't want glamour. I want trenches. So I mean, that guy really, really strikes me. And if we were going to go, outside the box, and I'd have to probably say Nate Wiggins, Clemson, cornerback. I like that kid. I think he would bring a good dynamic to JPJ. But the one kid that I don't know, man, maybe it's because he's got NFL prowess, and that's Luke McCaffrey out of Rice, wide receiver, third round. And
You
if
love
not,
that guy.
You know what? Nope. Nobody thought his brother was going to do anything in the NFL.
I wouldn't go that far. I thought he was going to be good. I didn't think he was going to be that good, but I mean, coming out of Stanford, he was a really good running back. Now, the one that kind of surprises me is that's not on this list yet, and I know he just had a run-in with the law.
Well, that's probably why he's not on this list.
But
we don't look at those guys anymore.
But Trevondre Sweat isn't even on this interview list out of Texas, and I'm telling you, this kid is going to be an absolute monster. He's 362 pounds and moves like he's half that at defensive tackle. And I really would love to see him on this team. Maybe with his running, maybe he starts sliding and he could be picked up in the second round. But man, I really have my eye on this guy, and I would love to see him in a Steelers uniform.
You know, I don't know what it is, but he's dropping on everybody's draft boards right
now. I don't know what it is either, TA. I really don't. That you would think that would be a commodity that everybody would want on their defense, especially if you run a 3-4. I mean, 362 pounds. You want to talk about holding some linemen up and freeing up linebackers? It says it all over him. And now, mind you, what happened the last time we took a defensive tackle out of the University of Texas? Do you even know who I'm talking about?
I do. But I think in this case, your comparison is not warranted for attitude and play. However, the weight issue is right there because they boys like good barbecue.
Do they? They'll close the stand down as soon as they open.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about cleaning out a buffet? Ooh.
Well, I tell you
what. I don't know. I would love to see him here, but we'll see what happens.
Here's something. If we got to get a guy out of Texas, all right, and I'm not talking first round, I'm talking about the dude that set the record for speed. Xavier Worthy. Man, could you imagine him and Austin?
TA, I don't know.
DJ's on board.
I mean, I think I get John Ross vibes with him. Cincinnati made that mistake. They took him out of Washington with a high pick because he broke the speed record of the draft or the combine. But TA, Xavier Worthy wasn't even the best wide receiver on his team. That was the guy that they interviewed in Mitchell.
Absolutely. I agree. I didn't say first or second round. I'm saying a little bit of late round.
I don't know. I think we have the speed element on this team. We need guys that are going to get us big catches, and I'm not sold on Xavier Worthy's hands.
Well, even if we did have speed, you still got to be able to throw him the ball, and I'm not sure that we'll talk about that later. But as far as where we're at, guys, we can probably move on, man. Those are I guess that's where we're at. So we'll just wait and see. But
let's do this. Let's wrap this segment up with this. Of all their visits, and let's count in the ones, the 4 left that they have to do. Who do you think has the best shot?
I don't know, but just a little fun fact in case nobody knew. Sean Stevens from Ferris State, the cornerback, that is actually Joey Porter Jr.'s cousin. So there's a little bit of family ties, and you do know how this team loves the family ties. So I would definitely keep close attention to that name. But one thing that I'm kind of surprised that's not on this quarterback list is Cooper DeJean.
I think he's overrated.
I don't know. He's a good athlete, though. He's a good athlete.
He's a great athlete. He's rising up the draft boards, but I think he's overrated. And in DJ, yes, I am thinking about JC Latham. Matter of fact, we were talking about that before the show. If the way the quarterbacks fall, JC Latham could potentially fall into our lap, but I'm not expecting him to be at 20. If he's at 20, then the draft really went sideways.
Well, he's currently under the PFF list of top 150 draft prospects. He's at 21st. He's at 21. And guess who's at? Let me get back to him.
I'm also, looking at this list, not to prolong it anymore. But Mike Tomlin usually likes Ohio State players. And as far as I can see, there's not one Ohio State player on there. And I've been banging the drum about Emeka Ibuka. I think he's going to surprise a lot of people.
Mims was 23rd. I just thought I'd get a chuckle out of that. Hey, Spoke.
Well, here's something. Just a little trivia.
Frazier.
How's this, guys?
Okay. Go ahead.
Let's play a little game for all you listeners out there right now. All right, nothing from the peanut gallery. Let's see how smart our audience is. All right, so we're going to call this segment "Colleges with the Most Draft Picks by Position." So we're going to go ahead and say wide receiver. Who out there thinks that there's one college that has had 46 wide receivers picked up for the modern era? All right, guys, let's see your answers.
Go, Chris, DJ, Smoke.
And you got Freight Train over here giving YMCA.
Come on, guys.
Come on, listeners. Let's go.
I wouldn't even have to look at the cheat sheet to know that one.
Look, how about this one? How about the school with the most offensive linemen at 71? Boy, they're all they either got their thinking caps on.
How do you sign that one, Freight Train? How do you sign that one?
I'm feeling lucky.
Feeling lucky? Or are you feeling like the bus just ran you over?
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
There you go. And how about this one? Uh-oh. Chris Elliott, who's the Buckeyes?
Oh,
there he is.
I knew it. I knew he would know it. He didn't let me down.
All right.
Well, hey, keep coming.
Let's throw one more out there. The most quarterbacks by a college, 19. Who's got that?
This is a tough one. They're also on. Can I give them a hint?
You can give them a hint. If you're West Coast dreaming.
And, their mascot is a brand of something you might keep in your wallet.
You need a brand of something you should keep in your wallet. Or maybe not in your wallet, in your hands with all the time. If you didn't get that by now, Smoke.
Smoke had to have gotten that off my hint. There's no way he knew that off the top of his head. He knew exactly what I was talking about.
Smoke doesn't even know what a Trojan is. What are you talking about?
Me either.
Well, there
it's
you go.
Against my religion.
That wraps that kind of guy. So, JT, what do we got next, buddy?
I like how he followed a Trojan comment with "Let's wrap that up."
Segue from USC. I guess you got to get, and surprisingly enough, it was you.
Put it on Inside Out.
It was you, Freight Train, getting your mind in the gutter rather than TA like normally. But
I put it on Inside Out, Rich. That's what happened.
You de-spermicide the other side, the non-spermicide side. Oh man! So still signing. Matt Wright, is that right? Oh,
hey, when it's right, JT.
It's right. It's right for him to be back. Yeah.
Oh, I love our listeners. They're the best.
Yeah, we can't repeat that. You're going to have to tune in to read these.
Yeah, you're just going to have to be watching to read that comment there. So,
that's hilarious.
There it's gone again.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so they signed Matt Wright back as insurance policy.
I'm kind of okay with that, man. I mean, he hung
Yeah.
out on the practice squad last year. He came in handy
Yeah.
when Boz was out. We
That's
never
right.
missed a beat.
Right.
I mean, so
Right. Ha.
right.
That's
And
right.
he was never wide right. Maybe
No.
wide left, but
Correct.
not right. So
Yeah, I mean, it's solid depth for training camp. That's about all I'm going to put into it.
It's like a who's on first exercise.
It basically gives Chris Boswell a roommate in training in Latrobe. So that's what I'm
It
thinking
does.
it is.
Somebody to talk to on the sidelines.
Mhm.
Was kick swings.
I tell you what, though, this one here, it wasn't a signing, no, but I am a little sad to see this day come, even though he wasn't a stellar wide receiver for us. But Boykin heading to the Big Apple, man. Who steps up for special teams?
Well, depends on how things play off. I mean, do you see Austin getting back there? Or think he's too valuable now to?
Well, I think, Austin's not going to put the lick on him like Miles Boykin did. I mean, he was a gunner. He was down there and he was putting a lick on somebody. He was, directing traffic per se.
Well, let me ask you this: with the new rule changes and the new guy we picked up, running back / wide receiver / fullback, whatever.
Wide receiver?
What's the
sleever?
Wow.
That's where it usually bounces off his sleeve.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Cordell Patterson.
Yes.
Yeah, well, he's kind of grandpa now. I don't know how much special teams he's going to play. I mean, surely
my
maybe.
Question is, how much special teams are we going to need to play?
Oh, you're going to have to play special teams.
Well, yeah,
but I see where you're going there. You're going to need somebody. You're going to need people that can get off blocks. It's no longer who can get down the field the fastest.
Right.
You got to be able to shed blocks.
It's a little different game plan now.
Yeah.
Modifies your player personnel too, I would think. Somewhat.
Yeah. I don't know, dude. That's a good point and an interesting point to how these teams are going to attack this new rule and you got to put solid players out there. Luckily, we just signed our special team ace to a long-term contract and we have Miles Killebrew, so he's definitely going to be out there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
Go ahead. I'll tell you what I do know. There'll be one player who's not wearing number 7 on this team this year, but he will on Smoke's team. And just so you know, Smoke, he couldn't carry 7's jock strap. Did you guys see that?
Yeah. Oh, I did. Of course I did.
Whatever.
I'm so done talking about that fella. Like,
are you really?
You know what? Good. Good riddance. Hope you have fun being a career backup. And maybe you'll be the second guy known in Philadelphia that wore gloves.
JT, he looks a little salty, doesn't he?
He is a little salty. Yeah.
I mean, I knew it was a terrible pick to begin with. And then it was so up and down and then his terrible attitude and
Smoke. That was basically the point that I was making with Smoke was, with this new rule, you're going to see a lot of changes weekly and adjustments until they kind of figure it out. Small hands.
Yeah, he couldn't wrap. It took more than 2 to get it wrapped around.
Now here's the real question when it comes to Kenny Pickett. Do they have Levin furniture in Philadelphia?
It's Ashley.
How's he gonna get? Yeah. Is it Ashley?
It's Ashley.
It's Ashley furniture.
Yeah. So, and did they terminate who's going to be the live-in furniture spokesman person?
Well, the only reason he got that job is because Ben handed it to him.
No,
he certainly didn't get it on his acting prowess.
Yeah.
Well,
they got Value City Furniture in Philadelphia.
Value City.
Yeah, no, I'm tired of the Kenny Pickett talk.
Yeah.
At least for me. I'm just done with him.
Agreed. Next mention of Kenny, you know who will get bleeped.
Yeah, TA, heed the warning.
All right. Some other news. This, I don't know if this was in here. Former Steeler who was on the lam finally turned himself in this past week. You guys see that? Cam Sutton
Oh, yeah.
turned himself in. So,
Well, I mean, nothing says you're guilty than running from the authorities for 3 straight weeks.
Yeah, for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Apparently, he really wanted to have Easter dinner somewhere.
Yeah, he was on a sortie. But he's back
Did
now. And he's.
you notice after he turned himself in? I mean, his sentence got kind of got lowered, and they released him, and he got to have Easter dinner after all.
Oh,
That's
what a
interesting.
guy. What a guy.
What a guy.
Well, that's what money buys you.
Yeah. Leeway.
Yeah.
They're just like, dude, just show up. You're making us look bad. Just show up and we'll go easy on you.
Right. In that $33 million contract you signed with Detroit, we're only going to take 30 mil. We'll leave you with 3.
Hey, to some people, 3 is a lot.
It's a lot.
Oh, it'd be a lot to me right now.
That'll work for me, too.
I wouldn't be talking to you guys anymore.
Honestly, the way he started playing for them down the stretch, he's only worth about 3.
All right. So a little positive note. Cam Hayward Day. So Pittsburgh City officials are recognizing Cam for his prestigious Walter Payton reward receiving. How cool is that?
I mean, he waited long enough for it.
God, yeah.
But you know what? I think that's pretty cool. My only question is okay, they said Wednesday. Is that mean that 4/10 every year now is going to be Cam Hayward Day? And what does that mean for Pittsburgh? That you guys get to take the day off? Everybody gets a football, black and gold jerseys to work every day.
Man, that's exactly what Yinzers need. Another excuse for a day of drinking.
Or just another great day to wear a jersey.
Icy Lights going to have a lot more sales on 410 now.
Icy lights for everybody. 410 is just halfway to 420.
420. Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Hey, good for Cam, though. I mean, I think he should have gotten it a long time ago, and they finally got it because they had to give a Steeler some sort of reward since they cheated TJ out of his reward. So good for Cam. He deserves it.
Oh, he does. He definitely does.
I mean, he's definitely a pillar of the community. There's no doubt about it. And all of his charitable work over the course of the last 13 years. I mean, the only one who hails in comparison is probably Charlie Batch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought him up, too. He should be at the charity basketball game as well. I know Dan mentioned that he should be there along with Merrill Hodge and, some other Steelers alum. So, yeah, I mean, he's still involved in the community and it's got several different things going on. He's got some like a charity for every month of the year almost that he backs. So hopefully we'll get a chance to meet up with him too. But yeah, a lot of good people, man. They moved to Pittsburgh and play for the Roonies or
Well, he's from Pennsylvania, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from
Charlie Batch. Yeah.
Oh, well, Charlie Batch. Yeah, no, I was thinking of Cam, but
Cam was too.
Was he?
Yeah, he was born in Pittsburgh. Because remember, Ironhead went to what college?
The Sweeneys.
The Sweeneys?
Do Sweeneys.
Do Sweeneys.
I will forever hold that against you, TA.
That's all right. The Sweeneys.
That's a Ohioan pronunciation of Duquesne.
Hey,
I don't know.
Put the Steelers in them, but you can't take the Ohio out of them.
Yeah.
Hey, the Sweeneys is a hell of a place. He went
That's
to Pittsburgh
okay.
because the Haywards are from Pittsburgh originally. Yeah.
I guess I don't know. For some reason, I always associated with him down south for Ironhead playing for the Saints.
Yeah.
He did. I mean, actually, Hayward was, I think, Ironhead was from New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken, and then he came from Pitt. It seems like a lot of folks from New Jersey go to Pitt.
They don't have any other colleges around there.
Yeah, we're not going to say that other guy's name. We're close
You
to
got
Jersey.
Rutgers.
You don't even think about it.
Come on, I was trying to reel you in right there. Come on,
Nope.
come on. You can.
You're talking about Tyler Boyd.
No, he's not.
DeMar Hamlin. That's who you're talking about.
No, I'll tell you what. It's KP.
See,
that's not
I
even
told
acceptable either
you.
anymore.
I told you. No, that's we only use initials for people that we like.
Yeah, he doesn't get a cool nickname.
He doesn't get a KP anymore. He gets a small hands.
Hey, you know,
or a PU.
Right?
Yeah,
that's Kitchen Patrol. That's what KP stands for. Because that's where he belongs, peeling potatoes.
See
With
you
his small
later.
hands. He can grab a spud. He can handle a spud like it's nobody's business.
Oh, well, you know what?
It's fun being a Steelers fan. You can pile on the guys that aren't here that didn't perform. Yeah. It's fun. Kenny Pickett will be that guy, Lima Swede, it's fun piling on those guys.
Oh, yeah. Limas is my favorite pick on. Him and Jarvis Jones. And of course, but, overall, looking back on it all, I was a little hard on the guy. But anyhow, I sent this earlier. You see that Deshaun Watson talking smack on the Steelers, saying that they're able to put us where they want us when they want to, kind of stuff. Like saying how didn't he mention all these coaching and quarterback changes aren't going to change.
Did anybody ask him what his record against the Steelers were when he played them?
Once he played
just
them,
out of curiosity.
He's what is he 1-0?
2. Sure, more like 0-2.
0-2.
0-2.
No, they beat us the first game, didn't they?
Dude,
yeah, but he wasn't playing.
Dude,
okay.
The first time, remember Alex Highsmith sacked him to end the game. He played terribly. And then the last game last year, he threw the 2 pick sixes to our outside linebackers. Well, I think one was a fumble recovery. I think TJ's was a fumble recovery, but he still fumbled the football. No, Deshaun Watson has played absolute dog trash against us. Who the hell is he? And then
apparently he sees so much better from the sideline. I don't know.
And then the last time they beat us, they only beat us 13-10. It was like one of the most poorly games by both sides ever played in the whole year. So he can sit down and shut the hell up.
It was because of the extra offensive lineman.
Yeah. Who's Deshaun Watson? What has he done?
Right.
Well, I know what he's done. I know what he's done.
He has pulled off the unbelievable,
hasn't he done?
Just like Alex Rodriguez did. Soaked the team for everything it was worth, and the New York Yankees still haven't recovered. Thank you to Deshaun Watson, because the Browns will never recover.
Right.
Paying. They'll be paying for 10 more years.
Yeah. How about you worry about staying healthy a full year before you start piling on your opponents that you haven't even beat yet yourself?
But you know what? In all honesty, though, I'm kind of glad he did put this out, because this kind of gives the team maybe a chance to kind of look at that and say, okay, was it the extra offensive lineman? Were we stuck in the base D against the Browns? Do we need to look at changing that up? Who else did we play that happened to notice this? Because sometimes I wonder if we actually correlate what other teams do to us and figure it out throughout the year. You know what I'm saying? Can we make that adjustment?
Well, how much of it's scheme and how much of it's player execution too?
You hear it all the time. Players are supposed to play. Coaches are supposed to coach.
Right.
You're supposed to execute.
I'm not at all worried about Deshaun Watson. So And I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers are either.
Well, I know TJ Watt sure isn't.
No.
Yeah, no.
It's like, go ahead and bring out your 3 technique or whatever. Bring out your heavy package.
He
I'll
has
still track you
all
down from
kinds of
behind.
massage parlors.
Yeah. I'll track you down from behind and strip the ball out of your hands anyhow. Oh, man. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, let him talk. Let's more
I-
bullets and bullets.
Whoever made this call sheet must have really wanted to just get under my skin.
Is it working?
Oh, I'm hotter than a hornet.
That's what I'm talking about. And to be honest with you, I've never met a hot hornet.
See, TA, it's what happens when you smack the nest early before the
Is that
show.
what it is?
Yeah.
Smack it
All this-
hard, quick, and fast.
Yeah, swat
this-
the nest before.
All this past quarterback talk and Deshaun Watson. Screw him.
Yeah, I agree, DJ. Our defense rules are the quarterbacks in our conference. You don't scare us.
No.
Actually, there's only one that scares me in our division.
He doesn't
He's
scare
coming
me
back.
either.
He's coming back.
We'll see. That's why they play the game on Sundays, boys.
But you know what doesn't
You
scare
talk
me?
about your LSU boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does scare me.
Ohio
either.
State. He started at Ohio State. He's an Ohio State kid. But anyways, you know what doesn't scare me? Our revamped quarterback room.
Very well said. A nice segue. Speaking of
Look.
quarterbacks, yeah.
Wait a second. Can we take time out for a minute? This is his first segue. I want to make sure that he savors in this, JT.
Listen.
He's never done this before.
Listen,
This
I
is
want to
a
thank
first.
our sponsors, Builder Bros. I want to thank you two for bringing me on this journey. You know, I've really grown in the past few years. You know.
All right. That's enough. Don't let it go to your head. So, yeah. I mean, who would have thought? Guys, I know we were clamoring like, oh, we might get him. Oh, we might get him. Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Oh, this guy. Oh,
This show
Easy
knew
go out.
exactly who we were getting. I just want to throw that out.
well, you know, I was pulling for, and who would have thought that when we announced, or he announced, or however got announced that it was a done deal with Russell Wilson was coming. I mean, I was ecstatic. I thought, you know, we need a mature quarterback again there to manage the game. We don't need anybody to be spectacular or Joe Burrow or anything like that.
We needed somebody competent.
competent to manage the game and understands how to read defenses and knows how to find a receiver open across the field, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the news broke that Saturday, Justin Fields, they made the deal for him. Just how the whole thing shook out. It was just a wow factor.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, you know, the three of us in our group text, you know, they got Russell Wilson, and you know, majority of America was like, okay, Kenny has somebody to learn from. You know, he can sit back. I didn't get that.
I was okay
vibe
with that going into it. You know what I mean?
But you know
my
what?
concern was going to be like, how's he going to take that? I mean, you know, what's he thinking?
Yeah.
Like first he gets hurt. Okay, you're out. And then he gets replaced. He literally got replaced and never got
Mhm.
put back in. Lost
Right.
his job to injury and lack of performance too.
Mhm.
So,
But in the same breath, I think the three of us kind of had an inkling of a thought that there was something else that was going to happen. Like we kind of knew, like I kind of had a feeling Kenny wasn't going to take it well. You know, judging it by the way he reacted during that Seattle game. Now you're bringing in Russell Wilson, who we were like, he has to start. There's no way you're bringing in Russell Wilson to sit on the bench.
no way.
And then they went out and traded that quarterback and got our guy. You know, the guy that we've been saying the whole time that the Steelers were going to have interest in, and we're going to bring him in Justin Fields. As soon as we knew he was on the trade block, it made perfect sense for us to go out and get him.
You know, I love. Go ahead, TA, because I was
I
going to
was
rant
just-
a little bit.
I was just going to say, you know, the stars definitely aligned for us. There's no doubt about it. So my question, what I really want to know, because I've done a little bit of research on this, are we still number 4 in our division for quarterbacks, or did this elevate us in some way or form?
I would put us third. I wouldn't say
Behind.
that. I wouldn't behind Cincinnati with Joe Burrow, and you still got to say you're behind Lamar. I know what you guys feel about Lamar. I kind of feel the same way to some sentiment, but he is a 2-time MVP. That does have some weight to it. That's more than what the quarterbacks we have on our roster can say. So if you're asking me that today, I would say that we are number 3 and Cleveland is light years behind us.
Fair enough. JT, what do you think?
I would agree with that. I know how the NFL's darlings looks upon Joe Burrow and obviously Lamar Jackson. But you lost in the championship. Oh, anyhow.
But he did get there.
Well, yeah, which
He
is more than
did
you could
get
say
there.
for our quarterbacks.
Exactly. Yes.
But let's see, how many times they beat the Steelers last year, though? Or the year before, or anyhow, I digress.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd have to say third. You know, I love all Steeler fans, but some of you guys on social media out there are just like poo-pooing this whole idea. Like, you have to figure what this all started 2 years before, you know, when Ben got hurt. Let's put it that way. At least, at the very latest, when Ben got hurt, they just had no plan to fill that in. You know, we'd had a couple guys there, Mason, you know, on and on and on. But they didn't really have that true franchise quarterback successor.
No, I mean, who in their
Ben played
realistic
too
mind?
long. You know what I mean? It's just, and then, you know, this offensive coordinator fiasco, just the whole offense in general, quarterback and offensive coordinator kind of shit the bed the last couple years.
Well, that's the thing. Who in their right mind as a Steelers fan should be boo-hooing about this? You know what I mean? Like, you realistic? You can literally sit there and say, "Oh, I would have stuck with Mason." Then I really want to challenge your want to win, because you know exactly what we're getting with him. I really want you to justify that and let you sit on that and stew on it and tell me how badly you want to win in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If you're beating the drum to keep Mason as a starter and you're boo-hooing about having a talented up and coming quarterback and a quarterback that has went out and won a Super Bowl and has won in the playoffs and taken his teams there compared to what we had. I seriously would really want to know what your judgment is on that.
Short-term vision, man. That's all. Short-term vision.
So I'm going to give you guys something to think about, okay? Because I wanted to do a little breakdown and study, and all I wanted to do.
I agree, DJ, by the way.
Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, and Lamar Jackson. Because the way I look at it, those 3 quarterbacks are all very similar in what they do and how they perform in the pocket. So to give you an idea, which I found this very interesting, because I'm kind of a little bit all over the board on Russell Wilson, but just given the last 3 years, quarterback rating of 103 was Seattle. Then it dropped severely to 84.4, and then he brought it up to 98%. That was his quarterback rating. But in that time frame, just to give you an idea, 3,100 yards passing, 3,500 yards in passing, and last year 3,000 yards in passing, 25 to 6 TDs to interceptions, 16 to 11, 26 to 8. Still in the positive as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking the yards, 3,000 plus yards. Damn, guys, with our defense, that might be pretty sufficient to get us to second, maybe even a third round of the playoffs. Now, let's take a look at Lamar in that same time frame. 87, 91, and 102 yards. Quarterback rating. So last year was his first. Now, prior to that, yards, 2,800, 2,200, 3,600. So last year definitely showed by putting some weapons around him, helped him out. And I think Odell Beckham probably really bridged that gap on him as
Well,
far
and you
as
got to throw in rushing yards too, TA, with Lamar.
no, that's just passing.
No, he's
I'm not
talking passing yards.
Yep,
Yeah.
just
Okay.
passing only. Just passing
Okay.
only. I don't want to talk about the running style. I'm passing to passing.
Mhm.
So then I will give Lamar this, but then again, when you run the ball more than you pass the ball, this is going to show, which is 16 TDs to 13 interceptions. And in the last 2 years, he's only threw 7 interceptions, 24 TDs last year and 17 the year before. So he's kind of definitely his projections going high. Now, if I look at the young kid, Justin Fields, I've got zero weapons until last year when he went ahead and got the big trade for
DJ
the wide
Moore.
receiver. Thank you from DJ Moore from Carolina.
Mhm.
Prior to that, no running back, no offensive line, and then Komet, right? Picked up the tight end. 73, 85, and 86 for a rating. 1,800 yards passing, 2,225 2,500 yards. No, his first year he threw more interceptions than touchdowns. Out of the net, he threw he scored more touchdowns than interceptions. I'm thinking 1 year behind Russ. Justin Fields just might be it, guys. We might have actually hit the jackpot lottery with this if the stats stick the way it's projecting at this time.
Well, the thing is, TA, and I know you'll agree with me. We got a front row seat to watch Justin Fields in college, and I know it's hard to compare college to the NFL. They're completely different. But when you look at what Justin Fields looked like when he had the weapons that he did at Ohio State, now they went up against some pretty big time programs at Ohio State, and he was a Heisman Trophy candidate every single year. You know what I mean? Was very deserving to get the Heisman Trophy as last year. Took us to a national championship game. Justin Fields thrives when he has the weapons to utilize, which in turn helps utilize his running ability as well, which is probably the second best in the NFL when it comes to rushing quarterbacks compared to Lamar.
All right, listen, I just encourage you guys to go back to November 8th, 21, when Chicago Bears, I believe they came to Pittsburgh. They only went 3-6 that year, but they only lost, I believe that was in the last, at the end of the game, 27-29. Justin Fields put up, he went 17 for 29 with 291 yards, 1 touchdown, and he did throw a pick. When you compare that to Ben went 21 for 30, 205 yards, and 2 TDs. So if you recall that game, he played very well against us. That's what opened my eyes to Justin Fields initially, was that firsthand experience against playing us. I thought he handled himself pretty well for as shitty as of a team as he had around him at the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they had, let's see, David Montgomery was a leading running back, 13 carries for 63. He averaged 4.8. Fields had 8 carries for 45 yards. And I think a lot of those were some of those like third down pickups and stuff like that who kind of caught my eye that they kept the ball moving. But yeah, Cole Kmet, Allen Robinson. There's a name. 6 for 87 and 4 for 68. A couple others spread it around. Jimmy Graham. Wow. I didn't realize he was on there.
Yeah, but that's not the Jimmy Graham that you remember.
No,
That's not the tight end. No,
not the tight end. No, but I just wanted to point that out. I mean, his stats were not that horrendous. They almost beat us in that game. And that's what first caught my eye with Justin Fields. And I thought, man, it's the right scenario. He can be something. All right, let me bounce this off you guys. If you were the coach of this team right now, would you start Russell and let Fields just ride the pine all the time? Or would you find a way to incorporate both of these quarterbacks in your game throughout the year?
I like option number two. I like the fact I think that Russell starts. I think you give the veteran and see if he can't pull that magic back for 1, maybe 2 years. But at the same time, you have to incorporate. You have to bring Fields in. You just can't sit him on the bench for 17 games and not utilize him.
No, not utilize that talent he's got in his legs and, his knowledge. I mean, gosh, you're thinking like Wildcat and yeah, Chris agrees as well too. So, what do you think, Freight Train?
I don't think it's either option, to be honest with you. I think Justin Fields comes in here with a chip on his shoulder and he wants to prove all these doubters wrong. And everybody thinks that he needs tutelage, when the reality of it is he never really had a real team to play on. And I think he wows this team in training camp and in Latrobe and during the preseason that I think he just wins this job outright. I really do. And when you look at it, there's only $1.2 million invested in Russell Wilson. What do you honestly really have to lose if he says, all right, then just go ahead and basically release me? Whoop-de-doo. You're $1.2 million. And I've said it, and DJ said it earlier. Ryan Tannehill is still out there. And there's no citing out there that he's going to sign a contract anytime soon. So if Russell wants out of Dodge, okay, there you go. We have a backup contingency plan to back up Justin Fields.
Look, first of all, Russell's not going out of Dodge. Russell's already got wide receivers traveling to San Diego, working with him. Pat Fryermuth.
Yeah, so did Mitchell Trubisky.
Is already did the hair parent.
So did Mitchell Trubisky. How long that last?
Look. I'll give you all that. My point being is it lasted 2 years. Russ gets at least 1 year.
Yeah. Mitch wasn't a Super Bowl winning quarterback, though.
I'm just how are you going to keep him on the bench when if he would clearly outplay the 36-year-old and has more upside for your football team and more usage? How could you possibly consider keeping him on the bench for a handful of plays a game? That doesn't make sense to me.
So first of all, just like I said a minute ago, he didn't have no weapons, he didn't have no offense, and he put up mediocre stats, even though it was on the rise. Right now, we've got a number one wide receiver. We don't have a legitimate number two and a third at best, with a bunch of other wide receivers thrown in there. Now we've got a great offensive, well, not a great offensive line. We've got above average offensive line, and we've got 2 running backs plus him. I think if you bring Fields in there and you do what maybe the Saints did a few years ago with I want to be a quarterback / tight end / I don't know what they're going to do with me, but I'm going to score a play here or there, and I can't think of that guy's name. Help me out, Freight Train. From
Taysom
New Orleans Saints. Taysom Hill. Thank you. I think that you use Fields in the same way, and let's face it, at Russell's age, there's no guarantees he makes it throughout the entire season. We might see Justin by default.
Or what's the scenario? Because we've seen it before. You get into week 4 and Russell hasn't played up to par. You know how these fans are.
Oh yeah,
we've seen it firsthand.
Oh yeah, then they'll have no choice but to bring Fields in. But I don't think Russell's going to allow himself to get to that point. Due to the simple fact is he's got a defense. He hasn't had a defense in how many years? And if I look at those offensive numbers with no defense compared to the defense that we have with those offensive numbers, we're talking back during the Ben later years. I'm not talking Super Bowl years. I'm talking later years, which gives us a fighting chance because, as we've already said before in the past, just get us in the dance, baby. Just get us in the dance.
That's it. All righty. So we talked about quarterbacks. We'll see how this plays off. Sure, it's going to be a fun camp, guys. I can tell you that. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, there may be a quarterback that we pick up some time through the draft, or maybe even a non-drafted or waived. I mean, there's a lot of time left for players and rosters to finalize.
And it could be Tannehill.
What's that?
And I said it still could be Tannehill. I'm not going to
be.
Yeah, you just don't know. There's so much movement left to speculate, including the draft. But let's talk special teams and what we have now. And we've addressed that twice. And then another signing with re-signed Christian Kuntz, our long snapper. Correct. We picked up Cameron Johnson as a punter. We still have Boz. And then, like we said, Mr. Wright as a backup there. As far as the kicking team goes, we kind of threw this around. We kicked this around earlier, but is Cordell Patterson or Calvin Austin going to be our kick or punt returners? How's that going to shape up?
I don't know. There's a lot of, you still got to think of Quaz Watkins maybe possibly getting tossed in there as competition. I don't think without a doubt that Cordell Patterson will be the kick returner, but the punt returner is still up for debate.
Isn't that why they picked him up for the kickoff returns?
You mean
wasn't
Cordell
used
Patterson?
last year?
Yeah.
To me, it'd be like throwing you out there with a walker, JT.
If you put the tennis balls on the bottom, it moves a little quicker.
Why did we pick him up then? Why did we pick him up?
I think because he knows the offense and it's just going to help the other players, and it's that veteran feel. And maybe with today's changes, it might work, but I just feel like this Cordell Patterson is like 4 years too late.
Was he even used as a kick returner in Atlanta last year? I have to see. I don't know.
I'm going to have to say yes. But that doesn't mean nothing.
No, I'm just trying to get. How fast really is the guy anymore? At 230 pounds. You know what I mean?
That's why he went from.
Here's a thought. Here's a thought. You know who I'd try out there with this new kickoff?
Hey, hold on. You asked a question. I'm going to give it to you.
Okay, all right.
In 2023, he appeared in 14 games. I'm not sure what he was doing for the other 3, but for 14, he did show up. And in that, he returned 7 kicks for 153 yards.
Yeah, so he wasn't primarily.
Right, but for a 21.9 average. Now, that's not half bad. That's probably better than what our guys are doing. I think Ray might have been the last one to average 22 points a yard. Or 22 yards a kickoff.
A return, yeah.
Correct.
That could be.
So, and then, yes, DJ, just to let you know, he's a running back. He had 50 carries for 181 yards at 3.6 out average. Now, I'm not going to say that they had a great offensive line, but 3.6? I mean, yeah, I think we were 4.1, 4.4 for Jalen and Najee. So, I mean, that's kind of right there at it.
Yeah. Not far off.
Here's a thought that occurred to me, and it's out there, certainly out there, because nobody knows what this kickoff return thing looks like. But if you're asking me, I would almost want to see what Jalen Warren would look like as the kick returner with these new rules, with a guy that knows how to read blocks and is shifty and breaks tackles. Because let's be honest, if you can hold blocks, a guy like a running back, a small running back, could probably really look good in this new format. And you're leaving one of your best playmakers on the field at all times, really, realistically.
The only thing that scares me about that, and I guess I'd be okay for 1 year, but it would be the whole injury thing that I'd be
Well, just
concerned
try it
about.
out. See what it looks like.
Yeah,
You know
right.
what I mean? In like preseason.
Yeah,
See
but
what it
what I'm
And
looks
is
like.
saying
is,
Well,
is
he's
this
not really going to be
play
playing much, but
is this play going to really turn out to be a running play that starts with a kick? You know what I mean? Is that really what they want this to get to?
yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it's almost as if, it's like Red Rover, let Johnny come over.
Mhm.
You're the offense is definitely getting a running start to your defense.
Mhm.
Um, I
I'm
don't know.
just saying, if it comes down to it, and it's mainly mono versus mono rather than a group of guys coming in to make a tackle, I would 100% take Jalen Warren going mono and mono with somebody on a kick return.
And DJ, just to let you know, I'd love to see McFarland back there, but unfortunately, he's playing in the USFL right now. San Antonio Brahmas, hmm, not doing too bad, but unless we pick him back up in the off season after his little stint here, I don't know
Hmm.
if he plays into the picture.
Well, let's move on. The question was here from our writer. Will Cameron Johnson be an upgrade?
Does the sun come up in the morning?
Did we
Does the
just have an
moon come out
eclipse
at
this
night?
week? Yeah.
Does a bear take a crap in the woods?
But yet, does a tree make a sound when it falls?
Yeah. But does
Well, that's
Presley
not
Harvin's
as you
punt
can't
make any
answer that one
sound
as
when it falls?
yeah. Does Presley Harbin shank punts?
Look, I for one, I'm hoping that Cameron is much better. But I still would like to see us get a younger guy who can boot that ball 70 yards. I mean, I still look at that Super Bowl and I look at those guys who were punting. Why can't
It
we
makes a
get one of
huge
those guys?
difference.
It
Huge
does.
difference.
It flips
Especially
the
if you can
field like that.
if only he could master a coffin kick. You just don't see
Oh,
that anymore in the NFL. But
no,
it is about
not like
pinning
it
them
used
deep.
to. It
You know
is.
what I mean? It's
It is.
it's part of the game.
It
DJ
is.
said,
I see, DJ.
yeah,
Okay.
he said,
Yeah.
yeah, pretty much here. Funny little story. We're talking bear season. These women come in and they complain about bears getting into their bird feeders. This one lady comes in and she picks up this little tiny cage that the wires were no bigger than like a cheap hanger that you get your dry cleaning back of. And she picks this up and she says, "Is this bear proof?" We're like, we just about peed our pants there, but
It might be idiot proof. I don't
yeah,
know. I think bears might get in it.
yeah. I don't know. What do you think, ma'am?
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, we shall see. Interesting. But let's move on, guys. We're kind of up against the clock here. This is really, we were talking about the charity basketball game. The Steelers are up at IUP at the KCAC this coming Saturday. We'll be there. But I get to give props to TA for digging this up, man. Why don't you take it away and tell us about how this all began? How did this charity basketball game ever start?
Well, I tell you what, JT, it is very interesting, and again, kudos to our Steelers on why we love them. And I'm probably not going to do them justice because it is very hard to find any information, but most people probably do not know the first charity basketball game occurred on the night of Chuck Noll's first draft class on January 29th in 1969. And
Wow.
believe it or not, it was against the Cleveland Browns. Now, what's very interesting about this is that in the Post Gazette, they ran a small little article like where you would see little league baseball scores,
Yeah.
the little box scores. They ran it in that section just so happenly after the Super Bowl that Joe Namath says, I'm going to win. So probably nobody even seen that article. Now, what's even more interesting about it is who the lineup was, because probably most listeners might not even know this, but you had Roy Jefferson, who was wide receiver, all pro. Here's a name, Dick Hoke. He too was an all pro that year.
Still a
Andy
Greensburg native, by the way.
Still a Greensburg native, by the way. Andy Russell. God rest in peace, Andy.
Yep.
He
R.I.P.
he was on the team that year, all pro. Ray Mansfield, Ben McGee, Lloyd Voss, Marv Woodson, John Hilton, and Tony Jeter played his last game that night against the Browns, not as a football player, but as a basketball player. Now, what's even more funny about this, a little college radio station that's still in existence today, WMCK, ran an article right below that that said, seeking games with school faculties wishing to put a benefit attraction on. Now, with all of that said and done, the Steelers ended up winning 64-56 in front of a crowd. Are you ready for this? Less than 500 people showed up in Greenville, Pennsylvania that night. Now, what most people don't know is that back in the day, before all of this hoopla that we have right now, all right, football players, to stay in shape, would play basketball in the off season. And basically, they made $150 a game, JT. Can you believe that? And for what most of them called beer money. Now,
That was good beer money then.
it was good. $150. Could you imagine how much Icy Light that bought back then?
Shit ton.
I mean, how many cases of beer is that? They didn't even have a 30-pack back then. But what was interesting is there was a gentleman who was an area judge who grew up with the Rooneys and were their friends, and was also an assistant to the press box. He was a press box assistant, and his name was Bernard Baldy Reagan. He was the actual coach of that team. Now, they went on to play a few more charity games, but what really probably set this in motion was on February 11th in 1977. Baldy knew about the Evansville basketball team basically had perished in a plane crash, and he had went ahead and reached out to them to set a charity game, and they organized it in Evansville, Indiana, against former Evansville Aces, just to raise money for the community. And just so you know, today they made a little article. If you stop into a bar in Evansville and you see a guy in a Steelers jersey, it's because he still remembers what the Steelers did as a class act coming in during that time frame. Now, believe it or not, the star of the day was Franco Harris, as he carried the ball for at least 100 yards that day, because I guess Franco was just a traveler. He didn't know how to dribble. He was just a traveler. However, because of his demeanor, the charity game, making it fun, this, that, and the other, everybody, it just, they all gravitated. And it was something that I think Franco took from that and carried on throughout his entire lifetime in Pittsburgh, that we've seen as far as a charitable guy. Started clear back in 77. Now, the University of Evansville did win that game 42-38. But what I found more interesting is that the Steelers and the Browns continue to play at least twice a year, going clear into the 80s, where the team was then passed down to today's now coach and Steelers press box assistant, which is Tom O'Malley. And what he said started out as, a 15 game playing for spaghetti dinners has now grown into 60 to 70 games a year. And at one time, all NFL teams had a basketball team, but today he believes only the Steelers still play in the offseason for charity, mostly now of former players, a few new, but it's hard to because of contracts and the fear of injury and everything else. And this weekend in Indiana, PA is the first time they've been able to kick it back up since COVID. So, with that being said, come Saturday night in Indiana, PA, come out, watch your Steelers play against the Indiana basketball team at the KCAC, which is the Kovalchuk Convention and Athletic Complex. Meet past and present Steelers, get their autographs, and all the proceeds are benefiting the Indiana Basketball Boosters, Armstrong, Indiana Clarion Drug and Alcohol Commission. And if you can't make it, check your local area because the Steelers are coming to your hometown near you for a charity basketball team, making a small article in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette 54 years ago, sing true to what the radio station WMCK wanted was. Give me a call. Let's play some charitable basketball. And hail to the Steelers, man, for carrying on this tradition.
Amen to that, man. Looking forward to getting together with you guys and watching this all play out. Should be a lot of fun, too. So, guys, if you can make it Saturday night, kickoff's 8 p.m. Tickets are only $8. The KCAC Center is a beautiful place. I'm sure you'll enjoy it there. And there's plenty of room, and there's not a bad seat in the house. I've watched IUP basketball games in there. Even saw the zoo come through, or the circus come through there. Ringling Brothers.
Well, they're about to see it come through again April 13th when we come to town.
That's it. The circus is heading to town too.
To see the monkeys come.
That's it too. Oh well. Thanks for putting that together, TA. That's awful cool stuff too.
It's going to be a great time.
Yeah,
certainly a great time.
Definitely is too. So,
I mean, for $8, I mean, come on out. I mean, you're talking about pizza money here.
Yeah, really.
You know what I mean? Just
you
come
spend
out,
more than that. You
time.
spend more than that at the bowling alley for crying out loud.
Right.
Bowling a couple games.
Yeah.
So appreciate that, TA. That's good stuff, man. Looking forward to it. So, well, we're up against the clock, guys. Anything else before we sign off and say goodnight? Bid adieu.
No, I want to say thanks to our listeners, man. You guys are doing a heck of a job of really engaging in this show the past, month or two. And, we really appreciate it. And we love you guys. I speak for all of us, that's how I usually do. But hey, tell your friends, tell your family, tell the guy on the street, check out the Steelers Realm, best of Indiana County. We're back up for the reward, so go back out there, vote for us.
That's right, guys. Thanks for that plug too. That voting just opened up again too. So look up Best of Indiana. Go out and vote for Steelers Realm under the entertainment section, and get your votes in there. Vote frequently, often, rapidly, and frequently.
But yeah, man, if you guys live close, love to see you guys come out. Me and TA, we're from Ohio, man. We'd really like to, put a real face with these names that come in and comment on this show and, really meet the people behind the keyboard. So for $8, I think you can handle it.
See you there. Be there. Be square. TA, have a good rest of your week, brother. You too, Freight Train.
Adios, amigos.
It's been a pleasure. Fans, listeners, Steelers Nation. Hope to see you Saturday night.
Absolutely. Steeler Nation, careful in the hot tub, man. We'll see you next time. We're out of here.
Check back next week into the Steelers Realm.